Welcome to the Nick and Matt Show. Bringing the player interviews you want to hear and the hot topics you want to discuss. Streaming live on the Foundation Podcast YouTube channel, here's Nick and Matt.
Go to the end of the event and go, did you know you were playing a playoff? And then how did it pan out for you?
Yes. 100%. I knew on hole 16's tee. I was on 16's tee, and I knew for me to have a chance, I had to birdie the last 3 holes.
Mm-hmm.
And then when I got to 17, I saw that Keegan was in with a 23 under, and I was 21 under.
Mm-hmm.
And no one else was going to be able to get better than 23 under. So I knew birding out was going to put me tied and into a playoff.
Which you did. You birdied the last 5 holes of that. And I was kind of curious as I'm watching the live coverage and watching the scoring and everything like that, is that you got to that point on hole 15, 16, 17, 18. So 14, 15, 16, 17, and 18. You went birdie, 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 birdie. So you birdied 18. You step off. You know that you're going into a playoff. What was the playoff like? What did you guys have to do? Was it hole 1? And then
it was actually really awkward because obviously Ricky had just won and Ricky had just tied the course record. He played really well the final round, and they did the whole here's your Goat Hill Challenge champion, that whole spiel. And then like right afterwards, the guy that got on the mic and was like, "There's gonna be a USDGC playoff." And
wow.
I was like, why are they announcing this to people? Like, no one cares. Like, literally, Ricky just won. Everyone should be caring about Ricky, not about a dark horse 5th place playoff for USDGC. So that was super weird. The tournament director is awesome. I think, is it AJ Risley's dad?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think it's Alan Risley.
I didn't know if they had the same last name, but yeah, he was a dope tournament director, and he was obviously super hyped. And he was trying to get, I think, people hyped up about it, and I was kind of like, it's just a playoff for like you got 8th place. It's not whatever. So
yeah, but I was going to say, you don't need to downplay. I know what you're doing, but I'm going to say congratulations to you again. A USDGC spot is.
Oh no, it was really important for me.
Yeah,
for sure. I'm just saying, like, if I'm a fan. Yeah. I'm not interested. I'm trying to get in line to get a picture or an autograph from Ricky.
Exactly. You're not going to watch an 8th place playoff for a USDGC spot that you're probably not going to see live in person anyways.
Yes,
but hold on. At the same time, and I'm talking with Brodie Smith on right now live. Brodie Smith has brought a lot of eyes to the sport, and people are very interested in your performance. That I think it would have been, and I didn't see how it played out. I wasn't there. I think it was something that would be worth highlighting. You're not just a tied for 5th player. I'm just going to put it out there. You have a lot more exposure on you.
Yeah. But you know what I'm saying? Like, the event's already over. The guy has already won.
Yes.
Yep. I'm going to be the first one to tell you what I think is important and what isn't important.
Yep.
That's important for me. But for the event, like, the reason I know a lot of people I saw were upset that the Pro Tour didn't film the playoff, but they shouldn't have filmed the playoff because FPO was going on.
Exactly.
And I would have thought I would have felt terrible if they filmed my playoff, even though there would have been a ton of people that would have been really excited and really into it. That isn't, like, we're playing off for something that is outside the scope of the tournament.
Yeah.
So if Innova was there and they wanted to, like, film it and post it on their YouTube channel or whatever because it's their big tournament and stuff, that would make sense. But my USDGC spot had nothing to do with Goat Hill, if that makes sense.
Totally. And I just wanted to.
That's kind of where I think
I agree with what you're saying. I was just trying to offer another perspective, as in, like, you aren't, and I'm not saying this because you're on here. You aren't just another player, Dustin Keegan or anybody else. But I agree.
Sure.
I agree. I don't think it should have been to take away from anybody's thing there. So I find it ironic slightly that you're sitting in Ezra's RV, and I'm going to ask this question. Now, everyone put me up to ask you about the fluke performance, but I'm going to ask it this way. Okay. Is your performance the way we saw it at Goat Hill? Is this something we're likely to see at future events? Now, I guess I mean,
I hope not.
More. How about round one?
It's too low.
How about round one and round two?
I played like terrible. I played terrible round three. Round three was like, everyone's had these rounds where you're not playing well and you're getting bad luck. And here's the thing with luck, right? And people talk about how Paul is like the luckiest player in the world. That's not the case. When you're playing well and you're throwing good shots, you don't really need luck. Like, it might look to like the other people like, oh my God, he's getting so lucky. But the thing is like Paul might throw one or two errant shots when he's playing bad. And so he only needs to get lucky on one shot. If you're playing bad and you're throwing tons and tons of bad shots, you're giving yourself tons of opportunities to get unlucky. So that's kind of what was happening for me is, did a lot of things not go my way the final round? 1,000%. Like I was going through the round hole by hole, and, you know, I honestly didn't play terrible in certain situations, but there were stupid mistakes that I made that cost me dearly. So it's like, you know, I had a 100-foot upshot and I needed to play it 30 feet out wide to the left to give myself a 15-foot putt, make birdie, walk off. I end up trying to throw it underneath the basket. I cut it a little close. It hits the tree. It drops down to 20 feet. Now I have a hard left to right wind, uphill putt. It goes straight through the chains and I miss. So it's like people could look at that and be like, oh my God, that's so unlucky that, you know, you got to spit out. But the way I look at it is I shouldn't even given a chance to have a spit out. I should have had an easy 15-foot putt. So there was tons of times that happened. So to answer your question, was this a fluke? I hope so, because I personally think like round 2 and round 3, I did not play well.
Okay, but how about 1,056 rated first round? Is that your highest rated round ever?
Let's not talk about ratings.
Is that your highest?
Talk about ratings.
Is that
Let's
your
not
highest?
Talk about ratings.
Is that your best performance ever?
That was my best round.
Okay.
That I played in the sense of the competition I was playing against.
Do you feel like?
Yeah.
No, I was gonna say, do you feel like you made any mistakes that round?
Yeah, I made 3.
Okay, what were they?
So I birdied. I played really well the first like 4 or 5 holes, I think. Hole 5 is the easiest hole in the course. It's like 327, and I forgot that it was like a full zone. And it wasn't like I forgot. I just kind of mentally lapsed that it was a full backhand zone, and I kind of played it a little softer. And so I left myself a pretty tricky, like 30-footer, ended up missing that. And then 17 is a very, very easy birdie, and I missed that. And then 18, I threw a drive to 330 feet or so, and threw a pretty crappy upshot and missed that. 11, I got a par. That's a very hard birdie. 13 is a very, very hard birdie, and I played 11 and 13 for like circle 2 putts. So I'm okay with not getting those. But I feel like 3 of the holes that were pretty easy, I didn't capitalize on that. And then a couple of the par 5s, I put myself in a really, really good position to eagle, and I didn't get it. So yeah, I mean, there was a handful of shots that, you know, it wasn't like I played flawless.
But for the most part, your game that round felt smooth. You were doing things correctly. Putting felt good. What were the weather conditions like on day 1 compared to days 2 and 3?
Yeah, first 6 holes, no wind. So that was nice. And right now where my game's at is I've had most reps in no wind, and it's easiest for me to trust my disc. So I was really able to commit to all my shots. That's one thing I've been trying to work on. And unfortunately, the only thing that will help me get there faster is like just more and more reps of throwing in the wind and being able to trust what my discs are going to do in a left to right or right to left, a headwind, all this stuff. So when the wind kind of picked up around 7 or 8, I had started so well that I felt like I was just in rhythm and I was just still like committing to everything. So I was like, I'm 8 under through 10 holes or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, let's just keep going. Where round 2 and round 3, it started windy and got windier. And so I didn't really get off to that great start. And so there was definitely a lot more shots, both those rounds, where almost as like I'm walking up to go and throw, like getting into my run up or my walk up, I'm like second guessing myself.
Yeah.
Like, should I throw it wider? Should I throw it with more highs? Like, and that's not what you should be doing going into your throw.
Those last second switches. Yeah.
And that's where, and so that was my biggest thing going from round 2 to round 3 is I told myself, I don't care if I shoot 5 over or 15 under. I want to try to commit to all my shots. And I feel like in round 2, there was 4 shots I didn't commit to. And round 3, there was 2 shots I didn't commit to. So I did a little bit better, obviously not perfect, but that was one of the takeaways that I was okay with in round 3 was at least, even though I made mistakes and like threw the wrong disc or threw it on too much hyzer or whatnot, I at least was committing to those shots.
Yeah. So fortunately, with your play on the first round, you solidified a spot in the lead card going into the second round. Second round wasn't as good, but it was good enough to keep you on that lead card going into the third round. Give us the feelings of, okay, day 1 is over. You know you're on lead card now. You're chilling back at your hotel. What's kind of your thought process? I'm going to be on post-round production. There wasn't live yet, but kind of like what are the feelings of Brodie Smith going into day 2?
Yeah, I think these are the rounds and the tournaments that I need to not only just build the confidence up, because that's when you're at your scariest, is when you actually are confident. And for me, I am very confident in my game, but the one thing I'm missing is actually having the reps of where I've seen myself do it when it actually matters. I've seen myself do it in practice, but I haven't had enough reps to where it's like I have seen myself be able to throw the right shots, make the right putts when it actually counts. And so putting myself in these positions, this is priceless experience and what I honestly need. So going in from round 1 to round 2, I was just really, really fortunate and happy to have the opportunity of putting myself in that position to get that valuable experience that I need.
Yeah. So going into that final round, you're talking about like being able to earn it, gain the valuable experience. Going into the final round, just give us somehow an inside look into your mindset. Like, were your feelings? What were your nerves like? People talk about that being normal. Like, as you're playing your round, were you having thoughts race through your head? Just give us what did the last round go like for you?
I mean, it was an absolute brutal first 13 holes. 13 holes were absolutely brutal.
Because it was 4 over through 13, right? No. 2 over. Yeah, because you scraped up a couple birdies. Yeah.
I think I got 2 birdies. Yeah. So, I mean, just to kind of go through my round real quick, hole 1, threw a good drive. Second throw, I thought it was good, but it was a little bit too far left. Skipped OB, missed my putt, started with a bogey. Hole 2, very difficult par 3. Threw a good shot to circle, but one thing that I really, really struggled with and something that I'm going to have to work on is uphill putts. And not so much like where the basket is higher than me. I'm fine with that. It's when I'm standing on a very vertical thing. I didn't make the correction of shrinking my my stance. I kept my stance wide, and I wasn't really able to generate power. And also, I wasn't throwing enough wrist. You got to actually get a little bit more wrist action to actually get the disc there because you can't use the lower body. So I ended up missing that putt. Hole 3, great drive. Second shot, made the mistake of into a right to left wind. Tail, right to left wind. I need to throw something. I need to throw a putter. Something more understable, and I threw my stable zone instead of my understable zone, and it just caught the win OB. And at this point, I'm trying to win the tournament, and that's a big difference too. Last year, when I was playing tournaments, I was trying to just not get big numbers and to try to just, see if I can like get a top 50 or whatever. And I'm just playing really safe. I'm trying to win. So when I throw that OB shot and I have, a 45 footer to an elevated basket, right to left, 20-mile-an-hour wind, old Brodie would literally just pitch it up and take my, what would that be, bogey? Yeah. Take my bogey and move on. Yep. But I'm in a situation where, I'm at this point, I'm like 6 or 7 strokes back, or 6 strokes maybe off the lead. And there's tons of holes left where you can get an eagle and Ricky could bogey, and that, that could be a 3-shot swing right there. So I'm like, if I can save par here, there's tons of holes for me to still kind of catch up. Yeah. So I go for trying to make it. It ends up unfortunately rolling out of bounds. I try to make that comeback. I don't make it. Now I got a triple. And now I'm like, oh boy, because this is one of those courses where when you par a hole, you feel like you're losing strokes to the field. Yep. So getting a triple on a hole is like absolutely miserable. So then I move on to the par 4, throw a perfect drive in the perfect spot to get up and down for eagle, throw the wrong disc, OB, make a par after being in a perfect spot for eagle. Hole 6, again, talked about that hole being one of the easier holes. Hole 5. Didn't get it again. Threw a scuba, actually hit the band. Hole 6, super tough hole, made par, moved on. Hole 7, super easy hole, threw it to 22 feet, spits out, rolls away to about 45, missed the comebacker. Now I'm bogeying that hole. Now I'm 4 over. Now I'm moving into hole 8. Hole 8, I think I birdie hole 8.
Yep, you do.
Yeah, hole 8 I birdie with a nice circle 2 putt. Hole 9, lack of focus. I throw it low. I forget that I need to throw it high. I par that hole. Hole 10 I birdie. Hole 11 I have a birdie putt. I miss. Hole 12 I don't even want to talk about hole 12. Hole 12 is an eagle look all day, and I parred it 2 days in a row, losing probably 3 strokes to the field. Hole 13, I missed my putt. Hole 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, I birdie out. Yeah. So there was just so many. I mean, I was 0% from C1X too. So I think I missed 4 or 5 putts from C1X. Yeah. And, it's just one of those things of where it was a big, big learning experience. But one thing I always tell people is, like, never count me out. Like, I could have easily have thrown in the towel and been like, I'm 4 over. Wow, I had a great chance at potentially winning or getting a top 3 finish. But I switched my my goal, right? My goal no longer at that point at hole 12, I knew I could not win. It was literally out of reach. There's no way I can win. So I was like, I looked at my phone, I looked to see USDGC spots and see what I was at, and I was like, if I birdie out, I can give myself a chance. I can give myself a chance. And yeah, I ended up birdieing 6 holes in a row, including the playoff to get it. So it was one of those things of where I could have left. And I told Ezra this too. I was like, bro, because I drove up to Stockton with Ezra. I was like, bro, you were really close to having a super silent 8-hour ride. Yeah. Because I would have been so mad at myself. Yeah. But it turned out, something that could have been extremely negative, it turned out to be a pretty positive for me.
Peace out.
The Nick and Matt Show, a disc golf podcast designed for you, the disc golfer. Find the Nick and Matt Show on your favorite podcast platforms or stream us live exclusively on the Foundation Podcast's YouTube channel.